Okay. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah. So I will commit this, and you guys have enough knowledge. Okay. I have shared multiple things till now. So you have to make everything variable. Okay. Like suppose availability zone. I am taking it manually right now. US is to 1A. Okay. And in one case, US is to 1B. It will be like in case of VPC. So you have to take everything from the variable. Okay. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, Guru.
What I'm saying? Yeah. So like availability zone here, I have hard coded. You have to make it variable. Okay. You have to make use of any variable you can create like availability zone or something. And then you have to pass the value here from that particular variable. Okay. Reference that variable and pass the value for that. That you have to do. And in one case, it should be US is to 1A. In another case, it should be US is to 1B. Okay. So you have to keep this in mind as well. It's not like you will create a variable and same variable you will define everywhere, use it everywhere. You have to make it in such a way that it will take US is to 1A and US is to 1B here. And with this only one variable you have to do. It's not like you will define two different variables and reference it. Okay, that is also a limitation condition for you guys. You have to define only one variable. Suppose you are creating a variable AG. Suppose you are creating a variable AG and here giving the type equals to list of a string, right? And then you are defining some values for this variable. So either you can pass it in terraform.tf file, or suppose in future your code is configuration is so long, so large that it will not be easy to maintain every variable here in the terraform tf file, because that will make you difficult. If you have to make any changes, you will have to traverse through the whole file. So you can create a separate file. Okay, AG, suppose instead of making changes to this file, I am creating another file, ag.auto.tf file. I am putting auto so that it will be automatically loaded. Okay, and variable.tf we are going for this AG. So list of a string. So you will take US is 1A. Another value will be US is 1B. Fine. So these are two different values. And you have to pass in this particular subnet, you have to pass US is to 1A and in this US is to 1B. So this is your task. Would you be able to do it? Guys, please say yes or no.
We'll try, Guru.
Yeah, sure. So this is the requirement, my requirement. My requirement is clear, right?
Yes, Guru.
Okay, fine. So please do try this, and it will definitely help you understand the concept of variable and even how can you make use of different functionality in Terraform to get such kind of use cases. Okay, to complete such kind of use cases. Okay, good. We are good. Now we need to create. So we have created our web server and application server. So this is our web server. This is our application server. So web server can only communicate to the application server, right? Because we have given port 22 access to our web server only for this particular application server. Now we have to create a relational database RDS, and that will be communicated by this application server. This application server can only connect to this RDS. So we will need to create a security group in such a way for this RDS so that it is getting accessed by this private instance only. Okay. So these things we have to do. Okay, sorry. So these things we have to achieve. So now we will be writing another file rds.tf. Okay. So I think all of you are aware of RDS. What is RDS, right? Anyone is here who doesn't know anything about RDS?
Yeah, I don't know about RDS, but it is a database of
provided in Amazon service. Is it correct?
Yes, right. So
Gaurav,
RDS, yes.
even I know only basic like RDS is a service which is used to connect MySQL, Postgre, all those things. But I don't know the configuration how we can do it in AWS.
Okay, no problem. So RDS is relational database service. Okay. So in AWS, what happens, like you can create your database as a managed service. What is managed service? Means AWS will manage the server on which your database will be running. You just have to select a particular database server. It can be of these kind. It can be either Amazon Aurora, MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, Oracle, or Microsoft SQL Server. So these are the engine options AWS provides. So if you are creating your database, so you will have to launch a EC2 instance. On top of that, you will install the engine, right? Suppose you have to install MySQL, so you are running a EC2 instance, suppose of kind Amazon Linux. So you will have to do sudo yum install MySQL, then run the server. Then you will have to manage that server. You will have to take care of the performance, security, everything. Okay. But RDS is the service provided by AWS where you do not have to worry about all those stuff. You just have to create your database. Okay. Use any kind of engine. Whatever is in the background, whatever the dependencies and all, that will be taken care by AWS. You will just create your database. On top of that, you can create tables, you can make entries. So these stuff you can do in that. Okay. And you do not have to worry about on which server it is actually running and how the security configured on that particular server where your database is running. So you do not have to worry about all those things. Fine. Is it clear?
Hi. Please take a few seconds to like this video, ask your doubts or questions in the comments. Our trainers will answer it. Your response helps us to post more videos on this topic. More likes we get, more videos we can post. And do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks.
Is it clear, guys?
Yes, Gaurav.
Okay.
Yes.
So manually, first I will show you how can we create. So let's go for a standard create. So in this, what happens, you will first select the engine type. Okay, so that is the first requirement. So MySQL is very basic database server which is being used largely and we understand it very easily, right? So MySQL is one I am selecting for now, and then the version you can select. There are different versions available for MySQL. Then you can either use this database server for production or dev or test environment or free tier. So free tier is like you want to use freely. Okay, you do not want to get charged for anything. So in that case, you can use the free tier. It has some limitations, many limitations actually, but here we will create free tier only because we do not want to incur any charges. Okay, once you select the template, right, then you have the setting block. So there you define the identifier. Type a name for your DB instance. The name must be unique across all DB instances. So this is your database name. Then you will give the username. Okay, master username. Suppose if you have to log in into that particular database server, so what admin access, what username or password you will use, so that you need to pass. Okay, you can either select to auto generate a password or you can manually provide the password. Okay, and password, there are some constraints for the password. At least 8 printable ASCII characters, can't contain any of the following. Okay, so @ double quote, single quote, slash, these things will not be accepted. So for now I am giving some password. This password I have given is admin123. Okay, it can be anything of your choice. So you have to confirm the password, means you have to retype the same password. Then the class, like when you are creating instance, at that time also you select the what is the RAM, how many core CPUs you need, what will be the throughput. Okay, so those things you define. Similarly, in this case also, whatever server will be on which your database will be running, so that configuration AWS will ask from you, so that you can select from here. Okay, so from drop down there are multiple things. So in free tier, this and this option is only available, so that's why we are getting grayed out for others. But if you will change to production or dev test, so other options will also be available for the use. Okay, then the storage type you can select, like SSD is fast, so you can use SSD, or provisioned IOPS SSD if you are doing frequently input output operation, like in Flipkart and all, there is purchases going on day night. Okay, so if you need throughput, then you can go for this. Then we have magnetic disk, which we call SDD. So in database using magnetic disk is like, if we have SSD, then this is of, I don't think it's of any use now. Okay, you can allocate the storage, and then the maximum storage threshold, like how much maximum storage you can have on your database. So this is the limit, so 1000 GB. Okay, so this is the range in which you can have. Okay, so we are having for now 1000 GB. Okay, then the network type. So either you can select, like if you want to communicate over IP version 4 addressing protocol, or dual stack means IP version 4 or IP version 6, both can be communicated, both can be supported. So for that purpose, you can select dual statement. Then you will have to pass the VPC name. Then the subnet group. Okay, so subnet group, you can create your subnet group. Okay, so in which subnets you want your database to be available, so that you can make, okay, that you can create through this DB subnet group. Okay, so here you can, if you will click on create DB subnet group, so you can give the name, some description if you want. Then the VPC you can select, then availability zone, so at least 2 availability zones you will have to select. Okay, and then the subnets from both the availability zone. So in Terraform's terms, there will be 2 resources which needs to be created. One is DB subnet group, another one is RDS. Okay, so once you will select the subnet group, so right now we do not have any, because this particular is not created, right? We have not any subnet group already created, so that's why we are not getting in. If you are selecting default, so it will create a subnet group for your requirement. Okay, on its own. Public access, if you want your database to be accessible outside of the VPC, then you can select on yes. If you do not want, you can select on no. Okay, VPC security group, you can choose, or you can create a new one. So in our case, we will be creating a VPC security group, that in that we will give access to just a second. Okay, sorry. So we will create a security group which will give this application server access to accessing this RDS. Okay, so this RDS will be only accessible from this particular server. So we will configure in that way the security group. So we have to create 3 resources. Okay, so this is done. You will click on create database and it will get created. Okay, so manual step is clear, guys?
Yes, Gaurav.
Okay, so manually we create the database in this way. Now we will be implementing same thing through our Terraform configuration. So for RDS, what we can do, we can go to RDS Terraform. Okay, so AWS DB instance it is called. So let's copy this particular section and put it here. Okay, so let me name it DB 3 tier. Okay, fine. Allocated storage taking 10. By default it is 10. So it is coming from allocated storage, right? This particular thing. So minimum is 20 GB for this particular MySQL server. So we need to take something 20 here. Engine time is in MySQL engine version. So 8.0.28, suppose I am selecting. So that is something you need to pass. 8.0.28. Okay, instance class dbt3 micro. Okay, we want to create in free tier. We do not want to be charged. So dbt3 micro. That's good. Name mydb. Let it be. Username I am giving admin. And password admin123. Okay, but it is not a good practice. Okay, to pass the password hard coded. Okay, anybody can see it and can access your database, and database can have secure data, right? That you do not want to share with anyone. So let's make it, as we already know the variable thing. So var.password. Okay, making it a variable and putting here a variable password. Okay, where it is rds.tf password, right? So fine. And so type will be a string, right? And I will make it sensitive because I do not want it to be visible to anyone. So I am not passing the value for this password in any file, because even we are passing in any file, that will be visible to others. So who will be using this particular Terraform configuration, while applying, I want him to pass the password, and that too should not be showing on this console. So for that purpose, you can use sensitive equals to true. Fine, clear? Is it clear, guys?
Yes, Gaurav.
Okay, fine. Let me remove that thing. Escape final snapshot true. Okay, that's not a problem. So this is one resource. We also need, if you remember, we need to pass subnet group, right? And VPC also. Okay, so first thing VPC. So security group IDs is one thing. So security group also we have to create. Okay, and another thing is DB subnet group name. Fine. And one more thing is there. Yes, so this DB is name is depreciated, so we have to define it is in this way. Okay, so these two resources we need to create more. First is VPC security group IDs, and another one is subnet group name. So if you remember, I explained you that how can you create a DB subnet group. So there is resource available for Terraform also. Fine. So we will make use of this. Very easy. Okay. So we will be creating database in our private subnet. Okay. Let it be. So subnet IDs we need. Okay. So private subnet IDs we need. So where is our subnets? So in vpc.tf file. So this is one and this is another one. And we do not need public subnet. We need only private subnet from these two. How can we achieve it? Do you guys remember? Do you remember the function? Okay, so my question is, this is the map, right? Having key value pair, and I want to get this particular value. How can we get it?
Element with index.
Sorry?
Element with
Element
index.
is used in case of list, right?
Okay.
It is map. So in map, what function we have?
Lookup.
Sorry?
Is it lookup?
Yes, correct. Good. So we will make use of lookup. So subnet ID is a list and we have to get two values. So for each x comma y in, what is the first one? Okay. AWS subnet dot. We have discussed it multiple times. So I don't think it is hard to understand for you guys. Subnet colon x comma y dot id. So this way we are getting the dictionary. And now we want the value of what? Which key? So private subnet, because our database will be created in private subnet. So whatever is the value for private subnet that we want, so we are referring through the key. Fine. So this is for one zone. So this is for US is to 1A, right? US is to 1A. Similarly, we have to do it for 1B also. So we will write another lookup. Copy this and make changes only. So here 1A, we have 1B, and this is 2. Fine, if you remember. So this is our another subnet, and public subnet for VPC2, private subnet for my VPC2. So these changes I made here. Fine. So this way our DB subnet group will be created. So we have to refer this here. So how can we refer? .default.id. Okay. Name we need. We do not need ARN. So ID, right? Good. Security group. So we need to create security group. Let's copy it from ec2.tf. And we need to create only port 22. And that will be accessed through the security group of private security group, because our application server can only access it. Okay. So we will be making use of that thing only. So we have already written security group multiple times. I am copy this, putting it here, and sorry, what happened? Instead of copying everything, I am copying so that I will not have to write again. It's not like we need to copy from that only. Okay. So security group DB, name allow TLS DB, TTL VPC ID, port 22, egress tags, allow TLS DB. Fine. Good. Now we need to change this, allow TLS. So this should be, this database should be accessible from only the application server. Application server is in private subnet, and private subnet security group is this one, which is attached to that particular application server. So we need to pass this. Okay. Now VPC security group ID string. So AWS security group dot what is the name? Security group dot DB dot ID. Fine. Fine, guys. So what we have created a database, a subnet group, and a security group. Fine.